Hello guys, welcome back to our channel Health Empire. In this video, we'll be talking about what is poison ivy and how it looks like. But before we begin, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on our latest uploads. Now, without further ado, let's begin with this video. Poison ivy is a type of allergenic plant in the genus Toxicodendron native to Asia and North America. Formerly considered a single species, Toxicodendron radicans, poison ivies are now generally treated as a complex of three separate species: Toxicodendron radicans, Toxicodendron rydbergii, and Toxicodendron orientale. They are well known for causing urushiol-induced contact dermatitis, an itchy, irritating, and sometimes painful rash in most people who touch it. The rash is caused by urushiol, a clear liquid compound in plants' sap. They are variable in appearance and habit, and despite its common name, it's not a true ivy, Hedera, but rather a member of the cashew and pistachio family, Anacardiaceae. D. radicans are commonly eaten by many animals, and the seeds are consumed by birds, but poison ivy is most often thought of as an unwelcome weed. The plant can be found in forests and wetlands, on beaches and along streams, as well as in urban settings such as parks, yards, and along roads. Poison ivy prefers partial sunlight, so it often grows where the land has been disturbed, such as along the edges of trails, fields, or landscaping. There are two types of poison ivy, eastern and western, which have somewhat different geographic regions, but which look very similar and sometimes interbreed where their ranges overlap. Both types of poison ivy spread along the ground, and eastern poison ivy also climbs trees, shrubs, walls, fences, and other structures, clinging to its host with hairy rootlets and sometimes sending out horizontal branches. Leaves of three. Most people know the phrase leaves of three, let it be, but many plants have leaves that grow in clusters of three, so it helps to know a bit more about the physical appearance of poison ivy. Each poison ivy leaf, or more accurately, leaflet, has a small leaf stem at its base, attaching it to a stalk or small branch that connects to the main poison ivy vine. The leaflet in the middle of the threesome usually has a longer leaf stem than the two side leaflets. Poison ivy leaflets are about twice as long as they are wide. They are typically 2 to 5 inches long, but many reach 6 or more inches if conditions are right. Poison ivy leaves may be smooth-edged or may have lobes or teeth. The two sides of the leaf may or may not be symmetrical. Leaves may be red or green, shiny or dull. The plants may have flower buds, flowers, or berries in dense clusters close to the vine. How poison ivy looks in springtime. Poison ivy loses its leaves in the winter and grows new ones in the spring. Young poison ivy leaves often start out dark red and shiny, then gradually turn green and less shiny over time. Mature leaves generally have a pointed tip, but new leaves may be rounded at the tip initially. In addition to leaves, the poison ivy plant may grow clusters of small green or flower buds in spring. Poison ivy in summer. In summer, most poison ivy leaves are green, although new leaves may still appear reddish at first, and the leaf edges and stems of the plant sometimes stay red. Poison ivy vines often take over an area, crowding out other plants and creating a carpet of poison ivy. It can also weave itself in among other plants, sometimes covering an entire field of grasses or other low plants. And it can create a wall of foliage on fences, abandoned buildings, or sunny rock outcroppings. Individuals who choose to wear short sleeves, or sandals outdoors in hot weather should look carefully before touching or walking through any greenery. Similarly, hikers and other outdoors people should stay on trails and be careful, extra careful, when stepping off the trail to heed the call of nature. Poison ivy in fall, beautiful but treacherous. Poison ivy is one of the first plants to change color in the fall, and its leaves can turn a brilliant red, yellow, or orange. They may be tempting for leaf collectors, but don't touch. They can still give you a rash, just like poison ivy leaves. A camera is the best way to capture the seasonal beauty of poison ivy. Poison ivy in winter, hairy vines on tree trunks. In winter, poison ivy loses its leaves, but it can still cause a rash if you touch the hairy vines that remain. The hairs are usually rootlets that attach the vine to the surface it's climbing. In the eastern United States, you'll often see the vines clinging to the trunks of trees, but they may also be found on shrubs, buildings, stone walls, fences, utility poles, and other structures. Poison ivy vines can be as much as 6 inches thick, and they may have thinner branches sticking out horizontally. Poison ivy flowers. The flowers of poison ivy are small and off-white with orangish centers. The flowers grow in clusters just like the buds and bloom in the spring. Poison ivy berries strictly for the birds. Poison ivy flowers develop into berries in the late summer. They are initially green, then ripen to a whitish color in early fall. They are edible for birds, but not for humans. Poison ivy berries are easier to see in winter because they are not hidden by leaves. However, because of the absence of leaves, it may be harder to identify them as poison ivy. In general, touching or eating any berry you don't recognize is not recommended. Poison ivy is number 1 on our list of plants to avoid because it contains a resin that can induce a very unpleasant skin rash if you touch it. Most plants have some sort of chemical defense system that helps protect them against predators, and the chemicals produced by poison ivy and its relatives are particularly effective. The resin contains a mixture of compounds that can bind to skin proteins upon direct contact. These complexes are then recognized by the human immune system T cells, resulting in a hypersensitivity reaction. The reaction, categorized by skin eruptions that itch and burn, can develop 12 hours to 5 days after exposure. Most people do not experience skin rashes the first time they touch poison ivy, but subsequent contact can trigger the reaction. Other lucky people don't seem to be susceptible even after repeated exposures. There is one trick you can try in the field if you think someone has touched poison ivy. See if you can find some jewelweed, touch me not, impatiens spp, growing in the area. Jewelweed has a very succulent stem, and the sap is reputed to be an effective remedy for poison ivy. It has a soothing effect on mosquito bites too. Break off the stem and rub the sap on the affected area. When you return to the classroom, anyone that thinks they might have touched poison ivy should wash thoroughly with soap and water. Any clothes that have been in direct contact with poison ivy should be carefully removed and laundered, because you can even get dermatitis from touching a bit of resin picked up on clothes. The unpleasant itching of poison ivy can be relieved by applying calamine lotion or a paste made of baking soda. In the case of a severe reaction, or if the dermatitis affects a particularly sensitive area like face or eyes, a visit to the doctor is in order. The best remedy, of course, is prevention. Learn to recognize and avoid poison ivy. Signs and symptoms of a poison ivy rash include redness, itching, swelling, blisters. If you have inhaled the smoke from burning poison ivy rash often appears in a straight line because of the way the plant brushes against your skin. But if you develop a rash after touching a piece of clothing or a pet fur that has urushiol on it, the rash may be more spread out. You can also transfer the oil to other parts of the body with your fingers. The reaction usually develops 12 to 48 hours after exposure and lasts 2 to 3 weeks. The severity of the rash depends on the amount of urushiol that gets on your skin. If you scratch a poison ivy rash, bacteria under your fingernails may cause the skin to become infected. See your doctor if pus starts oozing out from the blisters. Your doctor might prescribe antibiotics. Severe difficulty breathing and inflammation of the lining of the lungs may result from inhaling urushiol. Well guys, that's all we have for you today. What are your thoughts on this? Get involved and let us know in the comment section down below what you think about today's video. If you liked this video and found it informative, then be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also, if you don't want to miss out on any new future videos like these, then be sure to click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification under this video so that you're notified the next time we upload a new video. Thanks for watching guys, we hope you have a great day today and we'll see you in the next video.